You know, the NBA isn't really used to giving the top 5 mantle to young stars, especially young centers, international centers. But there's a new resurgence of superpower young players happening right now. And Chet Holmgren, who's now an NBA champion, he's part of it. But so is this guy. 28 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists against the 3-time MVP in front of the world. But here's what nobody wants to talk about. Rarely have we seen in NBA history young players this impactful coming in these numbers. And Şengün, he's one of the leaders of that pack, battling the likes of Nikola Jokic. Now that he's got Kevin Durant on his side, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the upcoming NBA year. But people aren't really looking at him as a top 5 yet, and we think that's going to end this year. They're not really respecting him because of his age, his youthfulness, but in the game, there's a sense of maturity that he shows that's beyond his age. And that's exactly what we're going to prove today. Context and promise. Look, we've been watching this kid since he entered the league. We've seen the progression. We've seen the doubters, and we've seen the numbers that everyone else is ignoring. I'm about to show you why the basketball world has a massive blind spot when it comes to Şengün. We're going to break down the numbers that prove he's already performing at an elite level, examine the narrative that's holding back his recognition, and reveal why his recent Eurobasket performance against Jokic wasn't an upset, it was inevitable. Because when you really dive into what he's doing, the impact, the versatility, the basketball IQ, that's beyond his ears. You start to realize we're watching something special unfold in real time. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Şengün belongs in the conversation with Jokic, Embiid, and the rest of the elite centers in the NBA. And more importantly, why this might be the year everyone finally admits what we've been saying all along. But first, let me show you just how dominant he's become. Section 1. The numbers don't lie. The on-court impact. Let's start with the most important number in basketball, winning. The Houston Rockets finished 52-30 last season, second seed in the Western Conference. But here's the kicker. When Şengün was on the court, they had a net rating of plus 6.0. When he sat, negative 12.7. That's an 18.7 point swing. 18.7. To put that into perspective, that's better than Bam Adebayo's impact, better than Karl Anthony Towns. This isn't just good, this is franchise-altering impact. The statistical profile: 19.1 points, 10.3 rebounds, 4.9 assists. Those are his numbers from last season, but let's compare him to the so-called elite centers. Scoring versatility: he's averaging nearly 20 points while shooting 50% from the field. Playmaking: 4.9 assists per game from the center position. Only Jokic and Sabonis are in that conversation. Rebounding: over 10 boards per game while playing winning basketball. But here's what the box score doesn't show you: the how. Post-ups, face-ups, transition dunks, three-point shooting. This isn't a one-dimensional big man. This is a complete offensive weapon. The defensive evolution. But what about defense? That's what everyone asks, and here's your answer. The Rockets went from the 3rd best defense with Şengün on the court to the 13th ranked defense with him off the court. Let me repeat that. They were a top 3 defense when he played. 2.5 deflections per game. That's elite perimeter defender numbers from a 7-footer. His defensive rating improved dramatically, and more importantly, Ime Udoka trusted him in crunch time, something that's never happened in his first 3 seasons. Section 2. The narrative problem. The empty stats myth. So if the numbers are this good, why isn't he getting the recognition? It comes down to narrative, and the narrative around Şengün has been struck in quicksand. TikTok highlights: empty stats on bad team, no defense, too slow. These were the labels, and here's the problem with narratives in sports. They stick long after they stop being true. This isn't new. Carmelo Anthony dealt with it for years. The numbers showed that he made his teams better, but the narrative said he was selfish. Sound familiar? The international bias. There's another factor nobody wants to discuss: the international bias. When European players dominate in FIBA competition, it gets dismissed as different rules or weaker competition. But when Şengün goes head-to-head with the best player in the world and outplays him, when he becomes the first player in 30 years to combine for 150 plus points, 50 plus rebounds, and 50 plus assists in a single Euro bracket tournament, that's not system basketball. That's greatness. The age factor. Here's what makes this even more remarkable. Şengün just turned 23. 23! When Jokic was 23, he averaged 16.7 points and 9.8 rebounds. When Embiid was 23, he was still dealing with injuries. Şengün is already putting up all-star numbers while leading a playoff team. Section 3. The Jokic Showdown. Setting the stage. On September 9th, 2025, Turkey vs. Serbia, the basketball world was watching. On one side, Nikola Jokic, 3-time MVP, best player in the world, the gold standard for modern centers. And on the other, Alperen Şengün, the player everyone said wasn't ready for this moment. The performance. What happened next wasn't just a game, it was a statement. First quarter, Şengün immediately attacked Jokic in the post, showing no fear. Second quarter, the playmaking took over, finding cutters, hitting the open man. Third quarter, 4 3-pointers, 4 against the best defense in the tournament. Fourth quarter, the clutch gene activated. And then this happened, the steal, the game stealer, against the MVP. The numbers, Jokic, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, -7 ±. Şengün, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, +9 ±. The student became the teacher. The challenger became the champion. Section 4. The Kevin Durant Factor. The perfect partnership. But here's where it gets scary for the rest of the NBA. Kevin Durant is now in Houston. Think about this pairing. Şengün, elite playmaker, post presence, improving shooter. Durant, ultimate scorer, floor spacer, veteran leadership. The pick and roll possibilities, the post-ups with KD spotting up, the transition opportunities. This isn't just addition, this is multiplication. The championship window. The Rockets already won 52 games with a young core. Now add one of the greatest scorers in NBA history to a team built around a 23-year-old center who just outplayed the best player in the world. This isn't a rebuild anymore. This is a championship contender. And Şengün is the engine that makes it all work. Section 5. The top 5 case. The elite comparison. Let's settle this once and for all. Here are the numbers for the elite centers. Offensive impact. Şengün, 19.1, 10.3, 4.9 with elite efficiency. Defensive growth. From liability to trusted closer. Team success. 52 wins. Number 2 seed. Plus 18.7 on-off differential. Age and trajectory, 23 years old with room to grow. Versus Embiid, better availability, similar impact. Versus Towns, better defense, better team success. Versus Adebayo, better offense, similar defense. Versus Gobert, more complete game, better offense. The unique skill set. But here's where makes Şengün special. He's not just good at everything, he's elite at the things that matter most in modern basketball. Playmaking. Best passing center not named Jokic. Versatility, can play any style, any system. Basketball IQ, sees the game 3 plays ahead. Clutch performance, shows up when it matters most. Conclusion and call to action. So why doesn't anyone want to admit that Alperen Şengün is already a top 5 center? Because admitting it means admitting they were wrong. It means acknowledging that a 23-year-old from Turkey has already reached elite status while everyone was looking the other way. The numbers don't lie. The impact is undeniable. The performance against Jokic was just the exclamation point on what we should have already known. But here's what makes this story even more compelling. We're watching the emergence of a new generation of centers who are redefining the position. Şengün isn't just following the Jokic blueprint. He's creating his own path. His craft and vision as a playmaker, combined with his improved strength and explosiveness, make him a unique force that teams simply aren't prepared for. When you look at his player efficiency rating of 27.5, his box plus minus of 5.0, and his value over replacement of 3.8, you're looking at numbers that put him in the same conversation of all NBA and Defensive Player of the Year candidates. These are not empty statistics. They represent winning basketball at the highest level. And now, with Kevin Durant joining the mix, we're about to see what happens when you pair elite playmaking with elite scoring. KD has always been a big fan of Şengün's game. And this partnership could be the perfect storm that finally forces everyone to acknowledge what we've been seeing all along. The question isn't whether Şengün belongs in the top 5. The question is, how long until everyone else admits it? Because if he can take the defensive leap he made last year and combine it with the offensive brilliance he showed the year prior, we might be looking at the next face of the center position in the NBA. Alperen Şengün isn't just a future star. He's a present-day elite center who's about to team up with Kevin Durant and terrorize the Western Conference. The debate is over. The numbers have spoken. If you think Şengün is already elite, smash that like button. If you think I'm crazy, tell me why in the comments. And make sure you subscribe because this Rockets team is about to be must-watch basketball, and we'll be breaking down every step of their championship chase.